Hello and welcome to another edition of Conspirator Brock's Pull List. This is my pull list for the week of February 21st, 2018. Let's get right into it. First up, we have one that we got shorted, and that is Armstrong and the Vault of Spirits, number 1. I like Archer and Armstrong, so I'm going to give this one a try, see if it's any good. Valiant's overall line has been good, but there has been some duds. The Adventures of Archer and Armstrong, for example, I almost didn't get through the first story arc because it was so bad, but it improved a little bit, and I kept going with it. So we'll see how this Armstrong book works. Next up we have Aquaman number 33. Apparently the crown is coming down, so we shall see what's going to be in store for Aquaman in that issue. Been a really good series. Enjoy it. It's definitely something that is a solid read. So if you're curious about Aquaman, I would recommend checking it out. Next up is a book I'm going to read twice because I've just been reading them twice because they're that good, and that is Batman 41. It appears that we have Poison Ivy is making an appearance. Tom King has just been doing a phenomenal job on Batman. I look forward to reading it every issue that comes out. I cannot wait for the deluxe hardcover volume 2, but I gotta wait for that. So yeah, but if you're not reading Batman, go pick it up in trade or hardcover, whatever. Read it. It is phenomenal. Next up we have Batman and the Signal number 2. This is the Scott Snyder Patrick book that is coming out of Metal. Pretty good. I enjoyed the first issue, so I'm going to check out issue 2. It's only a 3-issue mini, so I don't really feel like it's too harsh of a commitment, but I've enjoyed it so far. Next up we have Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, issue 4 of 6. Bunch of stuff going on with crossing over dimensions and all that stuff, because that's how these characters would get together. So yeah, looks like more Bane and Venom stuff is going on. I enjoy it. It's okay. Next up we have Batwoman number 12. This book has been plagued with delays, and just overall I'm not really feeling it anymore. It's up and down. So 12 is a good place to figure out whether or not I'm going to keep going with it, but we'll see. Next up is the title I'm really looking forward to, and that is The Brave and the Bold, Batman and Wonder Woman number 1 of 6. Liam Sharp is doing the art on this and penning it. It's just looks amazing. I can't wait to dive in and check out this murder mystery thing with that Batman and Wonder Woman are involved in. So really excited for that. Next up is Damage number 2, New Age of Heroes. I enjoyed the first issue. The second issue hopefully will be as good. I only have one complaint though, and apparently Daniel's going to be off of art as of issue 4, which, okay. And for Silencer, Romita Jr. is off art by issue 4. And apparently Immortal Man, which isn't even out yet, Jim Lee is off of art after issue 1. So not a really solid way to do the books. Yeah. So art-wise, and these are supposed to be art-driven kind of things, it really shows that artists do have a difficult time because they're doing so much work. Because they're creating so much. Each artist is different with how they draw, with how they pace themselves, with the way that they can pump out product. And some are good, some are bad. But Tony Daniel's going over and doing Batman stuff, but he's been doing Damage stuff. So you're constantly keeping these artists way super busy. Yeah. As for the John Romita Jr. off of Silencer, I'm actually curious to see who they bring on Silencer, if they're keeping that book around. And as for Immortal Men with Jim Lee, it's Jim Lee. He's the big guy. You need to have more in the book before you actually release anything, because he is busy. Not drawing, he's busy. He has a job that takes him away from drawing because he's evolved from being an artist to being somebody who's one of the heads of DC Comics. it doesn't leave you much time to sit down and draw a comic. So yeah, it's a little disappointing to hear that news, but I am still excited for the Terrifics by Jeff Lemire. But yeah, we'll see how this new age of heroes pans out. But I really don't think it's going to be as strong as DC wants it to be, and I think that's partially because, driving a book because of art, you really have to have a lot more in the done and completed before you move forward with publishing. And that's just something that is how it works. I mean, writing a comic book script doesn't take as much time necessarily as drawing out that comic, because you have to get you're drawing it out, you screw up, you have to start over. It's a longer process than writing the comic. And then it has to be inked, and all of this stuff has to go through its lettering. There's a huge process. So I would hope that DC learns from this experience, which a lot of publishing companies have difficulty learning from their experiences, but we'll see. But I need to move on to the rest of the pull list. So I'm looking forward to Damage 2. Suicide Squad's in it. Next up, we have Descender number 27 from Dustin Nguyen and from Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. I've enjoyed this series. Really good, really solid. Again, interesting concept, futuristic sci-fi stuff. Definitely something that I would recommend to somebody to read if they wanted to try something that's not necessarily superhero oriented. Next up, we have Green Lanterns number 41, continuing the superhuman trafficking story arc. Seeley's been doing an okay job since he's taken over on Green Lanterns, so I'm not jumping off the book. Is it grandiose or great? No, it's just mid-range, good, solid read. Next up, we have Harley Quinn number 38. This is the Angry Bird story arc. As you can tell, there's two giant penguins. Yes, those are two giant penguins, and it has to do with, you guessed it, penguin. So Harley Quinn's been okay since the writing change, since Palmiotti and Connor have left. So I'm going to keep going with it. I also like Harley a lot, so I'm going to, as a sucker, and just go with it. But for the most part, it's still enjoyable. It still has a feel that Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti brought to the character in their run from New 52 to Rebirth. But I really wish the Harley would go back to her roots and go to Gotham. I think that's the major important thing that she needs to do. Next up, we have Justice League number 39. We're still in Priest's Justice League world. Yep, it's okay. Not the best. Definitely makes me want to, definitely makes me rethink reading Justice League or picking it up. So hopefully that changes. Next up, we have the Lazarus Sourcebook, Volume 3, Vasakalov. I don't even know how to say it. Vasalkov? I don't know. I'm not Russian. I don't know how to speak Russian. When there's that many consonants, I get confused. This is just a source book. It's just more material for the Lazarus world, which is by Greg Rucka, and it's in a really good series, but it is very dense and slow, and so the source book brings added material to it. I haven't yet read a source book, but as a sucker for being completist, I picked them up. Next up, we have Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe. And yes, I said Ninjak. There's no dot here. If there was a dot between the A and the K, I'd say Ninja K. But it's Ninjak because there's no dot. So that's how I'm clarifying my pronunciation of it. This is issue 2. I read issue 1. It was not something movie-ish related to that movie thing that they've been doing. It's actually in continuity with what's going on in the comics right now. So shitty title, but okay book. Next up, we have Super Sons number 13. I just got word that they're canceling Super Sons. Boo! Super Sons has been really good. Tomasi's just done a fantastic job on it. If this is because Bendis is coming over and now writing Action and Superman, I'm not really excited for where Superman's going to go. Tomasi and Jurgens have done such a fantastic job bringing Superman back from this weird, he's a known character that nobody cares about reading his comics. or majority of people don't care about reading Superman comics. Superman used to be a very popular, very well-selling book, but before the New 52, those numbers were down. Even with the New 52 relaunch, the numbers boosted, but they went shot straight back down. And towards the end of that Superman run, an action run, those numbers were down again. And so but after Rebirth, his numbers shot up, and it's just been fantastic. If you have not read Action or Superman, you need to read it since Rebirth. It is quality, good stuff. But they're canceling Super Sons now, so we'll see how that pans out. Next up, we have, speaking of Superman, Superman 41. The last days, apparently Superman has to save a planet that wants to kill itself. Green Lanterns recently saved a planet that didn't want to save themselves. Not necessarily that they wanted to kill themselves, but they wanted to save themselves. So, really close, but whatever. Good stuff. You need to be reading. It's just, Robinson's doing a good job. It's fine. Next up, we have Teen Titans Go 26. Again, this is, I mainly pick it up for my kiddos if they want to read it. I read through it. It's not as good writing as the TV show, but it's entertaining. Next up, we have Trinity number 18. James Robinson's writing this. No Home for You Here. Looks like we're traveling to the Warlords universe. Yeah. Trinity's been okay. I think because it's a monthly book, it's been a monthly book since Rebirth, it kind of has some weird shipping things going on for a while. It's one of those books that I read, and I'm like, oh, okay, Trinity's here. I read, I'm like, okay, I read Trinity. It's nothing that's going to knock your socks off, but it's not something that's going to make you go, why did I pay money for this? And last up on the pull list, we have Wonder Woman Conan number 6 of 6. I decided to go with this cover because I liked it better, but they did have multiple covers for it. It's been an okay series. I'm definitely going to put it up on my eBay store and sell it when I'm done. Got to keep cycling through. So yeah, I did pick up some variants this week. First up is Aquaman number 33. The Aquaman variants have been fantastic. Had to grab the Batman variant for 41, namely because it wasn't Tim Sale. Green Lanterns had a one for issue 41. It seems like they're really pushing the Cruz and Boz relationship thing, but in Justice League, Cruz is like trying to date Barry, and she kisses Bruce. Yeah, I don't know what Priest is doing. I really don't. Part of me wants to just stop reading that book, but yeah. Next up, we have Harley Quinn, number 38. Gets the Frank Cho cover there. Awesome cover. And then Super Sons had a Dustin Nguyen awesome cover right there for issue 13. So that's what I picked up issue-wise. Another DC Rebirth Deluxe edition came out, and that's for Superman Action Comics. This is book 2 by Dan Jurgens and Patrick Zurcher, whose artwork is amazing. Love that guy. I follow him on Twitter. He's awesome sauce. Yeah, I can't wait to bust this open at some point and reread all this action stuff I've been enjoying for the past, year, almost 2 years. But action has been great. There's the hardcover now here. It collects issues 694 967 to 984. There was some dyslexia there. So that's it for this week. Next week's the last week of the month, so we will be getting previews. Yeah. So there was some news that dropped this week from Marvel. You might have seen it on the internet. They are advertising this as a fresh start in May. I would care more if it meant anything at Marvel. Since 2012, they have had so many restarts and relaunches and renumberings. I mean, we're 6 years, and they have at least relaunched 8 times or renumbered 8 times. They just went back to legacy numbering on a lot of their titles, and now they're going to relaunch titles with a new number 1. There's been some more information that's come out clarifying that books will have the main number, which is, like 700 or whatever, and issue 1. But to me, it doesn't. It's not going to win back your core readership that you've lost over the past 6 years with constant renumberings and constant just creative team shifts at a whim. You need, like Marvel, seriously, you need to focus on making quality books and not pumping everything as a gimmick. Retailers, especially after Legacy, for a lot of them, Legacy was the make or break of them giving two shits about Marvel Comics and ordering Marvel Comics in excess. And the thing is most stores aren't going to be falling for it anymore. So the whole thing of, variants and all this stuff, if Marvel learned something and changed course, I'd probably be behind this. But they tried to change course last year before Legacy didn't, and ended up not changing course and going back to the same old BS again. It's frankly a money grab. Is all they're trying to do is boost their sales numbers so that they have some tick on to tell somebody up in corporate that they made some money. It's disgusting, and it's tiring, because as a comic book reader, I want to read good stories on these about Marvel characters, but I don't care, because the company is just out to make every company's out to make a dime, but Marvel's just out to really make a dime. They're not out to put out a quality product. It's like, oh, we got to publish a comic. Oh, this is popular, we'll do that. Oh, this is popular, we'll do that. Oh, let's change this up. Oh, we'll do that. There's no solid thing going through Marvel. And one of the things that can really hit home for me about this was I saw something while I was going through back issues recently, and that was something on a comic that said 7 years in the making, Siege. Siege was a piece of shit story that came that was just this small, tiny, insignificant story. It took 7 years to make that. 7? Like, you built it up for 7 years and it was that shitty? Like, Marvel has had such a losing track record with their, quality-wise, with a lot of their event books and all that stuff. Not to mention that, they said, oh, we're not going to do any events for 18 months, and yet now we're doing infinity countdowns and there's no longer gems, they're stones, and we changed what they are because we're following the Marvel Cinematic Universe versus following what we have in the comics. So it's frustrating. I haven't actually purchased single-issue comic books from Marvel in 8 years? Maybe more? Because there's to me, it's not an investment I want to make. The books don't carry. They don't entice me. Most of the time, I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is a decent creative team. I'll read it, and I'm like, all right, it's okay. But there's always seems to be something that's holding them back from telling the story that they really want. So, a fresh start for Marvel. We're going to get more news. We'll see where it goes. But overall, if you're curious about something, check it out. If you're not curious, don't worry about it. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You can leave comments down in the comic section below down there. You can also listen to me on the Comics Conspiracy podcast. We just finished recording episode 344, where we talk exclusively about Black Panther. So there's spoilers in it. So if you haven't seen Black Panther, don't check out that podcast until you do. Because we spoil things. But yes, we do talk about an entire podcast about Black Panther. I enjoyed the film overall. There were small little criticisms I had of it, but I thought it was a good, solid movie. I'm glad it's doing really well in the box office. My views don't necessarily reflect a lot of the people online's, but I'm still enjoyed the movie. It's one that I'm going to buy on Blu-ray, probably week it comes out. Unlike Thor Ragnarok, I'm going to wait for a deal on that book or movie because I don't care. But Black Panther I did enjoy, and I will pick that one up when it comes to Blu-ray. So check that out. You can also help me and my fellow conspirators out at www.patreon.com/comicsconspiracy. For as little as $1 a month, you help us with hosting, getting food, and also getting products. So we thank you to thank you goes out to all our Patreon backers for the support you give us. Thank you so much. And you can follow me on Twitter. My handle is @BrockSager. And that's pretty much it. I know I need to get a video up for the Artgerm Harley Quinn statue that I just got last week. So hopefully this weekend I'll be able to do that. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.